Brando revolutionized acting with A Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront. Later, he became iconic as Don Vito Corleone in The Godfather. His final years were quieter, but his influence on cinema remains unmatched. Arnold rose from humble beginnings in Austria to become a world champion bodybuilder. Hollywood first doubted him because of his accent and unusual name, but The Terminator, 1984, cemented him as a superstar. He went on to dominate the action genre with Predator, Total Recall, and True Lies. Later, he stunned the world by becoming the governor of California, serving 2 terms. Stallone struggled in his early days, nearly homeless before he wrote Rocky. That film became a global phenomenon, earning Oscars and turning him into a star overnight. He followed with the Rambo series, solidifying his place as an action legend. Despite career ups and downs, Stallone reinvented himself in later years, creating the Expendables franchise and returning to his roots with the Creed films, where he played an older, wiser Rocky. Zeta Jones dazzled audiences in The Mask of Zorro in Chicago, winning an Oscar for the latter. Her beauty and talent made her a Hollywood star in the late 1990s and 2000s. Later, she took fewer roles to focus on her family with Michael Douglas, but returned to the spotlight with projects like Wednesday. In her later years, she remains admired for her elegance and enduring star power. Theron broke out in the late 1990s and won an Oscar for her transformative role in Monster. She became known for her versatility, excelling in both intense dramas and action films like Mad Max: Fury Road and Atomic Blonde. In her later years, she continues to redefine what it means to be a leading actress, taking on powerful, commanding roles that inspire admiration. Jolie became a star with Girl, Interrupted, which won her an Oscar. She gained worldwide fame through action films like Tomb Raider and later became one of Hollywood's highest-paid actresses. Beyond acting, she dedicated much of her life to humanitarian work, serving as a UNHCR Special Envoy. In later years, she continues to act selectively, balancing her career with her role as a humanitarian and mother. Diaz shot to fame with The Mask in 1994 and became one of the most bankable actresses of the late 1990s and 2000s with hits like Charlie's Angels and There's Something About Mary. She later retired from acting in 2014 to focus on wellness and writing, but recently announced her return. Her career arc reflects both Hollywood stardom and the choice to step back from fame. Barry made history as the first woman of color to win the Oscar for Best Actress for Monsters Ball. Before that, she rose in films like Boomerang and Die Another Day. In later years, she shifted toward producing and directing, while continuing to act in action-driven films. She remains a trailblazer and a symbol of resilience in Hollywood. Smith began as a rapper before starring in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which made him a household name. He became one of the world's biggest movie stars with hits like Independence Day, Men in Black, and The Pursuit of Happiness. In later years, he took on more serious roles, winning an Oscar for King Richard. Despite controversies, Smith remains one of Hollywood's most recognizable figures. Once known as Marky Mark in the music world, Wahlberg reinvented himself as a Hollywood star with Boogie Nights. He later became a box office draw with action films and comedies like The Departed, Ted, and Transformers. In older age, Wahlberg continues producing, acting, and running multiple businesses, showcasing his transformation from rapper to respected mogul. Hathaway began her career in The Princess Diaries, quickly proving she could handle both comedy and drama. She won an Oscar for Les Miserables and starred in major hits like The Devil Wears Prada and Interstellar. In later years, she continues to balance blockbusters with independent films, admired for her professionalism and adaptability. Bale began acting as a child, but his breakout came with American Psycho, 2000, where he stunned audiences with his intensity. His dedication to physical transformations made him legendary, losing and gaining massive weight for roles. As Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy, he became one of the definitive versions of the superhero. In older years, Bale continues to choose daring projects like Vice and Ford v Ferrari, admired for his fearlessness and craft. Grant became the king of romantic comedies in the 1990s with films like Four Weddings and a Funeral and Notting Hill. His charming, bumbling persona defined an era. In later years, he reinvented himself with more serious roles, such as in Paddington 2 and The Undoing, proving his range. Today, he continues acting, often playing more complex, darker characters than in his youth. Firth was long admired for his role in Pride and Prejudice, 1995, which made him a beloved figure. He transitioned to film success with Bridget Jones's Diary and later won an Oscar for The King's Speech. In older age, Firth continues to thrive, taking on diverse roles in films like Kingsman. He remains the quintessential English gentleman on screen. McConaughey started as a rom-com heartthrob in films like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. But in the 2010s, he reinvented himself with the so-called McConaissance, winning an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. His roles in True Detective and Interstellar showed his depth and charisma. In his later career, he remains selective, admired for his ability to transform his image from lightweight to heavyweight. Phoenix grew up in a family of performers, breaking out with Gladiator. Known for his intensity and commitment, he delivered acclaimed performances in Walk the Line and Her. His role in Joker earned him an Oscar, cementing his reputation as one of the most daring actors alive. In older age, Phoenix continues to choose unconventional projects, admired for his mystery and artistry. Bardem began in Spanish cinema before exploding onto the international stage with Before Night Falls. His chilling performance as Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men earned him an Oscar and global recognition. Married to Penelope Cruz, Bardem continues to balance Hollywood blockbusters with smaller artistic films. In older age, he remains one of the most respected European actors to conquer Hollywood. Robert Downey Jr. began as a promising young actor in the 1980s and quickly earned respect for his raw talent in films like Chaplin, where he played the legendary comedian. But his career nearly collapsed in the 1990s due to substance abuse and repeated arrests. Many believed Hollywood had given up on him, yet his comeback became one of the greatest redemption stories in film history. Cast as Tony Stark in Iron Man, 2008, he not only revived his career, but also became the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In later years, Downey transitioned into producing and selective acting, admired as a symbol of resilience and reinvention. Ruffalo spent years in small films before his breakthrough in You Can Count on Me. Known for his sensitive, everyman quality, he transitioned into larger roles, including Bruce Banner/The Hulk in the Marvel series. His performance in Spotlight earned him critical acclaim, cementing his ability to balance blockbusters and serious drama. In his later years, Ruffalo also became an activist, particularly for environmental causes. He is admired as much for his convictions as for his nuanced acting. Damon's rise began with Good Will Hunting, which he co-wrote and starred in with Ben Affleck, earning them Oscars. He became a major star with The Bourne Identity, defining the spy genre for a new era. Damon also proved his dramatic chops in The Martian and Ford v Ferrari. In later years, he balances acting with producing, often backing socially conscious projects. His career longevity is built on consistency, intelligence, and relatability. Gosling started as a child performer on the Mickey Mouse Club, but his career took a dramatic turn with The Notebook, making him a romantic icon. He avoided typecasting by taking daring roles in Drive, Blue Valentine, and La La Land. Gosling's combination of indie credibility and mainstream appeal made him one of Hollywood's most versatile stars. In later years, his role as Ken in Barbie showed his comedic brilliance, keeping him relevant to younger audiences. Penelope Cruz began her career in Spain, starring in films by legendary director Pedro Almodóvar. Her beauty and raw emotion quickly made her stand out in European cinema. She broke into Hollywood with Vanilla Sky and Blow, but her Oscar-winning performance in Vicky Cristina Barcelona truly solidified her global status. Over the years, Cruz became known for her ability to seamlessly cross between Spanish-language films and Hollywood blockbusters. In her later career, she has taken on mature, complex roles while also becoming a fashion icon and philanthropist. Today, she remains one of the most respected international actresses in the world, representing Spain on the global stage. Antonio Banderas started with intense Spanish dramas before being introduced to Hollywood by Pedro Almodóvar. His breakthrough came with The Mask of Zorro, where his charisma and swordsmanship made him an international star. He also voiced the unforgettable Puss in Boots in Shrek, winning over audiences of all ages. Later in life, Banderas returned to his Spanish roots, delivering one of his greatest performances in Pain and Glory, 2019, which earned him international acclaim. Now, in his mid-60s, Banderas continues to act, blending action, comedy, and heartfelt drama, while also running a successful theater company in Spain. Tilda Swinton began her career in experimental British cinema, earning a reputation as a fearless, avant-garde actress. Her striking androgynous looks and willingness to tackle unconventional roles made her stand out. She won an Oscar for Michael Clayton and became widely admired for performances in We Need to Talk About Kevin and Doctor Strange. In her later years, she continues to choose daring roles, working with visionary directors like Bong Joon-ho and Luca Guadagnino. Swinton represents a rare kind of star, one who thrives on the unconventional and whose career has only become richer with age. Jean Reno became one of France's most recognizable actors with films like Léon, The Professional, and La Femme Nikita. His calm intensity and unique look made him a natural for both action and heartfelt drama. In Hollywood, he appeared in Mission Impossible and Ronin, proving his international appeal. As he grew older, Reno took on mentor and supporting roles, often playing wise, seasoned characters. His legacy lies in bridging French and American cinema, showing that charisma and talent transcend language. Chow Yun-fat became an icon of Hong Kong cinema with John Woo's A Better Tomorrow and The Killer, where his suave, heroic image defined a generation of action films. International fame followed with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, which introduced him to a new audience worldwide. Later, he appeared in Hollywood films like Pirates of the Caribbean, At World's End. Despite his fame, Chow lives modestly, donating much of his wealth to charity. In his later years, he is admired not just as a film legend, but also as a man of humility and generosity. Gong Li rose to fame as the muse of director Zhang Yimou in films like Raise the Red Lantern and Farewell My Concubine. Her performances embodied elegance, power, and vulnerability, making her one of China's most acclaimed actresses. She later broke into international cinema, starring in Memoirs of a Geisha and Miami Vice. In her later years, Gong continues to represent the strength of Chinese cinema abroad, often praised as one of the most important actresses in world cinema. Day-Lewis is considered one of the greatest actors of all time, known for his total immersion into roles. His breakthrough came with My Left Foot, earning him his first Oscar. He continued with unforgettable performances in There Will Be Blood and Lincoln. Famous for his method acting and long gaps between projects, Day-Lewis retired after Phantom Thread, 2017, leaving fans with a flawless career. Even in retirement, his name carries the weight of excellence and artistic dedication. Maggie Smith built her career in British theater before achieving international fame. She won 2 Oscars early in her career, but younger audiences know her best as Professor McGonagall in Harry Potter and as the sharp-tongued Dowager Countess in Downton Abbey. In her later years, Smith continues to work, bringing wit and gravitas to every role. Her career spans more than 6 decades, making her one of the most beloved and respected actresses in the world.